Good morning and welcome to Joe's Astrology. Today is March 28th, Thursday, and the moon is in Scorpio. And I just want to go over some things, some interesting things about how astrology works, and show you some things that have happened in my life. I will, if you're new here, I'll use a lot of examples. I have a lot of videos on my channel about examples of astrology in my life. Uh, and I'll try to use examples of other people as well, charts that I look at, etc. But primarily, I like to use my life because I don't mind sharing it. It doesn't bother me. So we have Moon in Scorpio. Let's take a look here. Moon enters Scorpio, and I just did a. I've been thinking about doing this for a while. I just did a video on the movie Girl Interrupted and how there is a Mars, Moon, and a Scorpio theme running through the cast, including the woman that the uh, film was filmed after. And I've been meaning to do that for a while, and then the moon goes in Scorpio, and I didn't even try to do it. I made the video, posted it as the moon goes into Scorpio. Totally didn't even try to do that. Also, a couple other things, and this happens to me very often. Since I've been following this since I started doing astrology readings, and I will always get my Jupiter is in at 4 degrees Sagittarius, and usually when there is a aspect to that Jupiter, I will get an opportunity to do an astrology reading. And sometimes, oftentimes, especially early on, it was me reaching out to people. It was not always them calling me. And again, totally didn't. Even though I started the act, like I took action, it didn't. I didn't really plan on that. So recently, I did. You can see the sun there, 8 degrees Aries. Uh, I had at four when it was at 4 degrees Aries, making a trine to that Jupiter. I had a I had done a consultation with somebody, and so we have that Sun trine Jupiter. So that's one example there. Happens to me very often. And then we have the Sun at 8 degrees, 7 degrees Sagittarius. I have Uranus, and when the Sun, with my channel is growing very slowly, uh, with the Sun, with the Sun trine that Uranus. Uh, I had a short um, that got 20 subscribers, and that's very unusual. We see that Sun trine Uranus, that sudden uptick that's very unusual in the subscribers there. So I could go on and on about those examples, but let's get into this Scorpio moon and the stellium and Pisces. We have Mars is moving towards that Saturn. Pretty quickly here. Venus is moving towards a conjunction with Neptune. So I really thought that this month was going to be a little bit better with that Venus and Pisces, and not that it's terrible, but I really just overlooked the fact that Mars is going to make a conjunction with Saturn as Venus makes a conjunction with Neptune. So here's the thing with astrology. When I'm also commenting on the um, the daily astrology like this, in my mind, I could see how that Venus and Neptune and Pisces energy could be amazing, despite the Mars Saturn. Like, that doesn't bother me. But really, I'm speaking on the general, where the general public is, because a lot of things that for me, when I'm considering, this kind of goes along with that Scorpio moon. When I'm considering what's going to happen, what the energy's like, I'm usually involving other people. Obviously, to get this knowledge, I spent a lot of time alone, and in thinking about spirituality, I spent a lot of time alone. But I do enjoy being around people that, not so much just like-minded, but people that have what I would call shared affinities, or just on my wavelength, on my spiritual ray. Even not even like spiritually, but just, I don't really know how to explain it, but just generally, the people don't even care about astrology at all. And I enjoy being around these people, and it's really kind of a reference to where they're at, or how the planets are gonna affect them. At least in my mind, I feel like I can override the influence of the planets very often. So a lot of times I'm speaking on where they're at, and what's going to happen, um, based on how the planets are going to affect them. So let's bring it back to that moon in Scorpio. And if you haven't seen the video I did on Girl Interrupted, check that out as well. And let's kind of use that as a reference for moon in Scorpio, and what moon in Scorpio can be like. We see the characters in that movie be very emotionally impulsive. They're very quick to react. I mean, just everyone in that environment is usually quick to react emotionally. Even if they learn to kind of go into that opposition Taurus, and have that Taurus moon, where they react slowly, the emotions will, they're still repressing their emotions, and they'll hold them in. And you probably could see, I don't think anybody off the top of my head, but there's also people in that movie, in that environment, that would do that. And that obviously is not good either, and can be damaging to your health. So even though that you kind of see the two sides to that in the movie, and often the moon in Scorpio that lets it out, as the girl, the main characters did, they look like they're crazy, and it looks negative, and it's not nice to see sometimes. But that is actually, it can be healthy for them, because they're releasing that, they're not holding on to it, and they may need to do that at times, depending on the person. And I can see, even in my life early on, I had a lot of Scorpio experiences, and I feel like I had someone in my life who was that Taurus, had more of that Taurus, where they would hold it in, and where I was more the person that would just let it out. Because I have a Mars Moon conjunction. I don't have a lot of Scorpio, but I have that Mars Moon conjunction, and a lot of aspects to Mars. So I know exactly. I might not look like it on camera, but I like the reactions in that movie, especially earlier in my life. I definitely had many, many, many moments like that. So that is that Scorpio moon energy, and like I said, it's not pretty to look at, but for them, they are not suffering as much as, at least from not so much the movie, but the person who's letting it out isn't suffering as much as, possibly, as the person who's holding that in. And if you've ever had these experiences, or if you have Moon in Scorpio, there can be a comedic element to this as well, where you can see that square. There's a square to Scorpio from Leo, and again, it's not something that people expect. That's why I'm mentioning that it's a square. But you can see in the movie how many of these outbursts can turn into laughter, and just kind of like laughing at, if you can laugh at yourself at some of these outbursts. It's just like, oh, I can't believe I said that. Or someone else might be looking at it and knowing what's going on, and they'll just laugh. They can laugh at you. And look at that. There's a moon. See, I didn't try this as well. There's a Moon Mars trine that occurred as well with that moon entering Scorpio as I did that video. So I think I'll leave it there for the moon in Scorpio for now. One thing I mentioned earlier, what I wanted to highlight was that you do, as these videos can be entertaining, and you can learn a lot about astrology. You do have to see your chart to learn some things. You have to work with either on your own or work with an astrologer, where you can see the aspects and come into life in reference to your chart, as I was saying with the sun making that trine to Jupiter. So if you're interested in working with an astrologer, I'd love to work with you. And I'll have more information down in the description. And I hope you have a great day.